Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again.
That last scene.
What does it mean?
I'm the dude, you know?
Get the fuck out of here.
No, I cannot. It's over. Go home. That final scene
Starts now.
Hello, we're back. Welcome to That Final Scene podcast. My name is Sophie and I am joined by Simon and Ben. I wanted to make a joke and say Ben again.
Yes.
Ben again. It's like Fred again. It's
Yeah.
like Ben again.
It's like Fred
Ben
again.
Except my DJ skills aren't as good as his.
Ben, we had another unrecorded podcast, you and I, yesterday.
Yeah, we were initially due to record on Monday, and I arrived and we thought something terrible had happened to Simon. We were very worried about him because we texted him and we got no response, and eventually we rang him and he was incredibly aloof and nonchalant when he picked up the phone, which immediately signaled that Simon wasn't on his way here.
What did it sound like?
You were like, you picked up the phone, you were like, hello? And I was like, Simon's at home. I instantly knew. I was like, yeah, Si's not on the way here.
Sorry.
And then we just had a little bit of back and forth, and then here I am back again 24 hours later.
Back again. Simon, I want you to kick us off with what you've been watching because we've been desperately wanting to hear from you.
Yeah.
Well, I was dreadfully hungover the other day.
Go on.
So
fantastic.
Risky business.
I dug deep.
Okay.
Clue number 1.
Oh, lovely. I love it.
A baddie with a hook for a hand.
Baddie for Happy Gilmore.
Nope.
Captain Hook.
2 protagonists.
Wait, go on.
Why did I go Happy Gilmore? There's a guy with a hook around.
The golf trainer, the golf pro.
Yeah.
I love Happy Gilmore.
2 protagonists.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 main characters. So it's not like Face Off or something, is it?
Okay, 1993.
Oh, you lost me. It's a
Okay.
bad year for films.
1993. Bad guy with the hook for a hand.
You're going to get it in the next one. There's a train crash that's cost $1 million to film, and it was shot in one take. It's based on...
It's Harrison Ford's not in it, is he?
Yep.
I didn't kill my wife one.
Yeah.
That one. Oh, The Fugitive. I didn't kill my family. That one.
Yeah, that's it.
God.
Oh God, that was painful at the end trying to get that out.
I don't even think I've seen the film.
Oh, The Fugitive's amazing.
I've seen parts of it because it was playing on TV like every other week when I was
target
young,
is Dr. Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Wait,
It's
I've got
too
that.
masculine
I've
for
literally
me.
got that clip here for you because
What,
I think
the Richard Kimball one?
the bit when Tommy Lee Jones takes over the investigation from the local useless sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And earlier on we were talking about you mentioned toxic masculinity in regards to something else. This is like salubrious masculinity.
Love it.
I don't know what else to call it. What's the opposite of toxic masculinity? But Tommy Lee just slides in and does this amazing speech.
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven ground, barring injury, is 4 miles an hour. That gives us a radius of 6 miles.
The leadership.
What I want out of each and every one of you is a hard target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, or doghouse in that area. Checkpoints go up at 15 miles. Your fugitive's name is Dr. Richard Kimball.
Oh, so good.
Go get him.
Go get him.
This film gives me heavy negotiator vibes.
Yeah.
It's like a replica. Well, I don't know which film came first.
I mean, Harrison Ford was doing a lot of films similar at that time, I feel like.
I think he's done that speech in every film that I like from that era, like in Under Siege.
Yeah.
He literally does that speech, but he's a baddie in Under Siege, obviously.
Yeah. Tommy Lee... I mean, what has Tommy Lee Jones done recently?
Last film, I remember him... Oh, wait. I did see him somewhere. I want to say The Burial with Jamie Foxx.
Maybe.
It was an Amazon Prime film. And maybe I'm making it up, but I have a feeling I saw him in this sort of like TV film.
The Fugitive is just so good. There's a brilliant storyline in Scrubs as well. I assume you both watched Scrubs, did you?
A little bit.
There's a great storyline in Scrubs where the janitor in Scrubs, the actor who plays the janitor, is in The Fugitive. And there's a bit where he's on a train and he like shouts and he's like, Kimball! And he stops him. And there's a whole episode of Scrubs where like, I think they're watching The Fugitive and they're like, hang on, is that is that the janitor? Is the janitor in The Fugitive? And they're trying to work out if, like, they keep asking him, they're trying to work out if it's him from The Fugitive.
Yeah, that's a really important scene in The Fugitive because at the end, towards the end, Richard's got into the court. I can't remember, he's in a courthouse or something. He's behind the secure area. And he's running down a flight of stairs. And Tommy Lee Jones looks over the banister and just goes, Richard! And he just stops and then he knows it's him.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's such a good movie. I haven't watched that in so long. That's a great hangover
And another
film.
thing I know about that film is that a lot of the scenes were ad-libbed in the moment. Like, apparently a lot of Tommy Lee Jones's sections...
Really?
Yeah, and you can feel it. Like, a lot of the actors would get together before each scene and be like, I want to tweak this, I want to change that. And it just has this flow to it that I think is just really satisfying.
I think 90s was very much like that.
Really?
I think there was a lot of ad-libbing involved because it was in the era of like stand-up comedy also being on the rise, and I think people were winging it a bit more. Well, now you rarely hear that anymore. I think I've heard recently from a couple of actors that you would almost expect it, like Jason Bateman does that well, which is like it's so predictable because he can't actually quote unquote like act, even though he can, but like, you know, he needs a bit of help. But I feel like actors are very much, you know, following, you know, the script these days.
Yeah. It's got a very 90s compliant happy ending.
Yeah.
It's
and then
very
there's a
satisfying.
second one, isn't there? Is there a second Fugitive?
I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, it doesn't need a second one.
Fine as it is. It was based on an old 70s TV series, wasn't it? I think.
I kind of categorize that along with like Heat and stuff like that, like good, like 90s. You know, there's a lot of movies that are the same, but just ever so slightly different. Like, you know, Point Break is like the younger guys doing it. The Fugitive is like Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford doing it. It's just,
it's the genre of a film that has a courtroom scene. You know, it's it's that kind of genre. With
A Few Good Men.
Yeah, A Few Good Men. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got very polarized good and bad in it.
Harrison Ford running in suits. You know,
Basic Instinct, like it's very much in that.
Hasn't he got he's got a tremendous beard in it at one point as well. At a certain point.
They start the film off with a beard, I presume, so he can shave it off to get in disguise.
He looks great.
Yeah.
Oh God, that beard suits that man.
He's just so reassuringly solid.
That's a great word for Harrison Ford. He's never going to win an Oscar. He was never going to win an Oscar, but like he's so. Was
he ever nominated for one? I wonder.
Must have been.
He must have been nominated.
But for what?
Something.
But then you go through his filmography. It's like he hasn't done Oscar-winning
Raiders
films.
of the Lost Ark or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he might have gotten one for like an original indie film or something.
Maybe.
Wouldn't have gotten anything for Star Wars. But again, even in Star Wars, he's like such a safe pair of hands. Like, you know, you're going to get good, like effortlessly cool.
My other hangover guilty pleasure is Patriot Games.
Yeah, well, Fugitive and Patriot Games are they're very similar films.
It was of an era, wasn't it?
Yeah, they look the same. Like they look like they're filmed in the same. Like it looks all like the same DOP and stuff.
Okay, so he was nominated once for a film that I've heard of, but I haven't seen. It's an 80s film, 1986, and it's called Witness.
Do you think it was the one where like they do a stutter to try and get an Oscar or something?
Oh my God.
Do a disability. Do a disability.
What, like
straight in? Most
of Daniel Day-Lewis's Oscar nominations.
Second film. I can do clues again. This is a bit rude.
Yeah, I love these clues.
Clue number 1, grave shagging.
Oh, Saltburn?
Yeah.
That was...
You know what my clue number 2 is?
Bath drinking.
Drinking jizz water.
Yeah.
And then number 3 is it doesn't touch the talented Mr. Ripley. Here ends my review.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, what is your general review of Saltburn then?
It's quite over the top.
Because I still haven't watched it from start to finish. I've seen bits of it. But
I struggle with films that have like song bangers in them. It's very cheesy and like almost like an easy win. Like,
I feel like all that film is being known for now is the Sophie Ellis-Bextor's track.
Yeah, I mean, it has bang like pop culture, you know.
Yeah,
songs throughout. Yeah,
pop culture bangability.
I think
bangy.
Yeah, I see. It does take me out of the film, but I think for most people, actually, it is a win because I have heard that soundtrack is a major win for that film. But I've heard it from like more casual moviegoers. I'm guessing, it does attract that broad appeal audience because of that. But I'm with you. Yeah, I feel like I'm in the minority. I just didn't like that film. I didn't enjoy it.
Made more sense as an ITV late night drama or like a BBC naughty drama or something. As a film, it felt
It also builds on the trend of tax the rich and like we hate the rich and like it's very much in that sort of genre. And I feel like this is what the point that he was trying to.
Almost.
Parasite, yeah. Like what's the other one?
Is it the UK's answer to Parasite?
I mean, Bong Joon-ho
White Lotus, Succession, and it has very much that kind of like.
I think you're reaching a bit with that. I don't.
No. But as in like, but that's the point, right? Because it's that person that comes from. Yeah. But like,
isn't it because of society's obsession and with what it's like to be rich? Like, for example, the way we worship the Kardashians.
Oh, exactly. That's the point I'm making. Like, the main character was clearly like had other. I don't want to like spoil the film for those who haven't seen it, and Ben as well, but. That wasn't his point. But I feel like it uses the vehicle of like fuck the rich as a way to, make it as popular as it actually ended up.
But hang on, the guy that's infiltrating the rich family.
Yeah.
He's from quite a rich family. So it's not even like he's anti-rich.
Well, but he hates himself. He has severe
but that's
self-hatred.
The twist, isn't it? You end up in his house.
I don't care.
Oh, but the people, spoilers for people who haven't seen it because it's a new film. Yeah. Go on. Yeah, no, go ahead.
It's not that new. I mean, it's been on Prime for quite. It's been on Prime.
Yeah,
since
but I
Christmas.
get why people have it in their watch list still.
Well
it's fair to give spoiler warnings.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so the guy who's doing the talented Mr. Ripley role,
Barty Keoghan.
Yeah, he's from a well-off family. So
it doesn't compare with the wealth that the other family has, but like upper middle class, yeah.
So I wouldn't say it didn't have that angle. It was just like he was a nutter. I didn't know why he was doing it, actually. I don't know what
but he was going after that life because it was very much the life that he despised and also hate and also loved at the same time.
Yeah, maybe I missed the point.
It was, and to be fair, it wasn't about that, but I think it very much addressed that and not like an ordinary family. He didn't go out to destroy like an ordinary poor family. He went after them because they had so much privilege and status that he wanted all of that just to basically give a big FU.
How does it compare to Promising Young Woman?
I like Promising Young Woman a lot better because I think it had a very strong worldview and like a feminist point of view. With this one, I go, and I don't know, Simon, if you felt the same. I felt like it was very nihilistic and very bleak. As in, like, I don't actually get the morality of it. I don't get what the director was trying to say, even with the final scene.
In Saltburn?
Yeah.
I think it was just quite shallow. I don't think it was saying
exactly.
very much.
Yeah, so it didn't connect with me. Well, Promising Young Woman, like, it had more of an argument.
Okay,
I agree. I didn't feel it had much of a message, which is a shame because I did like, what's your name?
Emerald Fennell.
Yeah, I like her in interviews. I think she's interesting, but yeah. Okay. Good review.
Yeah, a couple. I mean, I don't have to keep going on, but I've watched quite a few. I watched The Old Oak with the Ken Loach film.
The depressing one.
It was a bit depressing. It's quite linear. It's quite predictable.
Right. Okay.
It's about this pub landlord that owns and runs a pub in a sort of deprived, forgotten about region in the north of England. It was an ex-mining town. The people are kind of forgotten by the government, and these immigrants are shipped in, and there's a lot of jealousy. And it's just about how the town reacts to this new influx of people that are being looked after by the British state when they feel like they've been forgotten. So it's quite interesting, but it's made in a very Ken Loach way where it's very on the nose. It's a very linear story. There's no cleverness. It's just here's the story, largely told by unprofessional actors. This is the owner of the pub at his sort of lowest ebb, like talking about what's going on.
Try and get some new funding. There must be cash somewhere.
Well, yeah, and there's local churches, there's local business, shops.
We can get there.
How many times have I heard that over the years, though? Whether it's a strike, this fucking pub, the village, I mean, half the country's fucking rotten. But Laura, you know what is getting there? It's hate, lies, corruption.
Is this the one that he's just been nominated for? Was that nominated for a BAFTA, that one? The Old Oak? Is this the new one, the new Ken Loach film, is it?
Yeah. I think it might be his last one as well.
I think that was up for a BAFTA on the weekend.
Like if it's the last one he'll ever make.
I could see that. I do want to do a deep dive in his filmography. I feel like I don't know much about him and his work.
Daniel Blake.
Yeah.
Kez. Yeah, I was going to say Kez is one of his, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's a good. It's a film that's got quite shonky acting in, but the whole thing is held up by the injustice of what's going on. So it's a bit like, I don't know if you guys saw the drama on the Post Office Horizon scandal in the UK.
I couldn't bring myself to watch it. It sounded too depressing.
Yeah, it's a bit like that where it's a sort of shonkily acted thing, but because the subject matter is so unjust, you're drawn into the story. So it's a bit like that for me.
Ben?
Yeah, I've been kind of watching like lots of random shit recently. So I started watching Masters of the Air on Apple TV, which I kind of enjoying it. I know you'd said before, like is there like a bit of Austin Butler fatigue? I haven't really got that yet because I haven't watched him in much. Like I still haven't seen Elvis. So I haven't really gotten that yet. But it's good. Like it's really good. Like big ensemble, like big set pieces. It looks amazing. And it's just like, if you liked, like the easiest review to give it is, if you liked Band of Brothers, you will you'll enjoy it. Like I think it's better than that other one that they did, with the Pacific one that they did about 10 years ago. Because there was another kind of Band of Brothers-esque one from about 10 years ago. I would say it's better than that. I'm getting Barry Keoghan fatigue myself.
Yeah, I get that.
He's in a lot.
I think he's your most mentioned actor after the guy, the other Irish actor that you like to talk about.
Cillian Murphy?
No, the other one in, what's the Civil War film?
Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah,
he doesn't mention him.
I don't think I've mentioned Brendan that much, and that's a shame because he's a fantastic actor as well.
Well, speaking of Barry, though, I mean, just a side note, did you see he was cast to play? I'm not sure he was actually going to play, but he's going to be in a film about Saddam Hussein's final days.
He's playing a soldier in it, isn't he? Yeah, he's playing some soldier.
So I was like, that's another happy film for Barry.
For us all, and for him to do his kind of slightly shonky American accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Masters of the Air is good. Slow Horses season 3, amazing. If you haven't watched Slow Horses, I would urge you to watch it. It is incredible television. It's like, and it's short. It's 6 episode seasons. There's 3 seasons. Like after the first episode of every season, you will just want to binge watch the whole thing. Like the first season, I think we watched in just 2 days because we were like, this is so good. And season 3, we were trying to like limit ourselves to not watch it as quickly, and we watched it in 3 days again because Gary Oldman's amazing in it. It's this really good like cast of like British actors. And it's so well written. It's like really good spy drama, but it's funny as well. And yeah, oh God, I don't want to give anything away about it because, like, just go and watch it. But it is absolutely incredible. Like it's the best I've seen of Gary Oldman in a long time because he is so he's awful. Like you would just despise. Like the minute you see his character, you're like, I know you're going to be an arsehole and a dreadful human being, but you still kind of love him for that exact reason and stuff. And there's really endearing qualities to him. And there's a brilliant Mick Jagger song as the theme song as well. And I always appreciate a good theme tune to a show. And then I just ended up watching some really fucking random movies. I watched Terminator Salvation recently because it's on Netflix.
That was hard work.
Which is the infamous one where Christian Bale did his big rant on the set. And then I watched Dune as well.
Dune
in anticipation of the second one coming out, which is getting everyone's saying it's absolutely amazing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I liked the first one, and I'd be interested to know what you think, Simon, and if you're going to see the second one as well. The first one feels like a means to an end. Like I don't think once the second one is out, I think I'll appreciate the first one more because I think it very much just feels like we have to get all this out of the way to set up this next film that is going to be like huge set pieces, an even bigger cast. You know, I think Dune 1 will be better when I can see the second one. I can watch it in context. I don't know what you think.
I didn't really connect with Dune 1 that much. I wasn't really rooting for anyone by the end of it. I wasn't.
Yeah. No, you're not.
It took only the final third. It started to pick up for me. I think the last time when we chatted about it, I was like, some of the dialogue is basically a bit James Cameron-y, like Transformers.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
which is why the second one needs to have a payoff.
Yeah.
Which apparently, it sounds like it does. Like, I think a lot
I'm really excited about Butler's character. I mean, he looks menacing. He looks menacing in the
trailer. And Christopher Walken's in it, which is such a random one. The cast is like
I think we should do the ending. We should do the final scene.
Yeah.
Isn't it out in March?
Next
March.
Friday.
Yeah, so maybe it could be like, because I know
that'd be a good IMAX, because you watched it IMAX, didn't you? The first one. Yeah. I'd like to do the same as you.
IMAX,
I feel like we should book yesterday.
Booking a showing. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed the first one. I'm still not on the Timothée Chalamet train. I think he's good. I don't think he is like his character in Dune, the Messiah that will save Hollywood. But Yeah, it's
he's very likable, but I haven't seen. Well, I have seen him in a couple of films where he's good, like A Beautiful Boy. He's good, and Call Me by Your Name. He's quite good. But
That's amazing.
yeah, but like Wonka, I've heard pretty mixed reviews on his performance.
Yeah.
And even like maybe he wasn't the right person for the role.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
As I say, I haven't really watched much. That I'm just watching a lot of Gilmore Girls at the minute.
Oh my god!
Listen, I don't blame you.
It's fucking great television.
Sometimes
Good
you
Lord.
need that sort of TV to like
Zone out.
turn off.
Relax,
Yeah, exactly. I get it.
And some good old cameos. And I was saying to Sophie yesterday, like there's very young John Hamm in there, wearing a suit that's clearly not been tailored to him and is way too big. He grows into his Don Draper suit, obviously, that he got in Gilmore Girls. But
we're gonna bring him up in our discussion very shortly about actors and actresses that need new agents.
What about you, Sophie?
Very quick, 2 shout-outs. First one, I mean, it's a BBC show, so I don't know if our international listeners can actually see it somewhere, but I love Time, the show Time. So it's technically a movie because it's two seasons, 3 episodes each. So you could see it like easily in one evening. First season, it's with Sean Bean and Stephen Graham. And second season with Jodie Whittaker and
prison drama,
Bella Ramsey. Yes, prison drama. But it's not like Prison Break prison drama. So it's not like glamorizing prison or like, hey, we need to escape sort of thing. It's the reason it connects with me is that obviously I'm not from here, and it's very much rooted in systemic and institutional British problems and British crimes and like the reason people end up in prison, like for the dumbest thing. So the case that stood out to me was Whittaker's character. She ends up in prison. She's a single mom of 2, and she ends up in prison because she fiddled with the electricals to pay less because she couldn't afford her bills. And she ends up in prison, and she ends up like losing her kids. So like things that are very prominent and like discussed in the UK, which like wouldn't like make sense for even a country like Greece. But I learned a lot, and the performances are amazing. Sean Bean finally like gets some, like great role to work with.
Sheen Bean.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, he was amazing. So yeah, well recommend. And it does have a resolution.
I remember the first season coming out and people kind of raving about it. I think it was amazing.
Yeah, both were really good. So yeah, and the prison guard side of things, and I don't think we see the prison guard perspective ever, and that's Stephen Graham. Yeah. So yeah, recommend. And yeah, I did mention Ironclaw on Instagram. It's the best film I've seen in years. Best film, like according to me. I'm not saying like it's objectively the best film, but it connected massively with me. I watched it with Michael. It was the first time that I almost saw Michael cry, and Michael doesn't cry. He doesn't cry. Like it just, and I was like almost shocked by how quiet he was after the film. Like he really like retrospect, it was just a phenomenal experience. So I don't know if you've heard of Ironclaw. So basically it's about it's a true story. I would call it inseparable bond between all of the Von Erich brothers. And if you haven't heard of the Von Erich brothers, they're basically from the 1980s, huge characters in the wrestling world. And the film, which is by Son Durkin, who I love, he did The Nest and what was the other film with Elizabeth Olsen, Marcy May Marlene.
Martha May Marlene. I love that film.
I love that film. Yeah, so it's from the same director who plays, his thing is family dynamics. That's what he explores in every film. So the film is very much about the brothers and how they were treated by their father, who also used to be a wrestler, but he wasn't a great one or like an amazing one. And he projected a lot of that failure onto his kids. And then the mother is a phenomenal like figure in the family about like, she wasn't present. She was like a massive Christian and like she saw a lot of the abuse and she didn't say anything. It's a very sad and tragic film, but at the same time, it's not like going back to Saltburn. It's not bleak. It has a lot of tender and loving moments because it shows how the brothers like cater for each other, like under that sort of abuse and pressure of both the industry and their father. And the only thing I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil anything, is that the actual story is so sad that the director had to remove some of the actual happenings.
Oh my God.
To make it less sad, because his argument was, if I actually told the real story, it wouldn't be believable. Like it's so sad and tragic what happened that it wouldn't like make any sense. And I thought that was a very smart and bold move from the director. So he basically combined some of that story with something else. So yeah, very much recommend. Zac Efron is back. Speaking of people that need new agents, I thought he was great. I know, like Ben, you heard from someone that he wasn't as good, but I thought it's a very physical performance, and I think he did a great job. And I continue to be in awe of Jeremy Allen White. I think he's fantastic. Also Bear and Shameless, for people who haven't. I mean, you can't have not heard of Jeremy Allen White.
He's kind of everywhere now, yeah, isn't he?
Yeah, but I still find like new, aspects of him in his acting.
He's basically the guy who looks like young Gene Wilder.
Yes,
and who probably, when they were casting Wonka, they should have just cast him. In it, because he is the spitting image of Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's the movie recommendation. So nice. I urge you all to watch it.
Yo, pick up the phone. What's up? What's up?
We just got a ping from the burner phone.
There's a significant amount of explosive in the trash receptacle next to you.
Cool. Okay. A couple of things we wanted to discuss today. So first of all, we did get a voice note from a fan of the podcast and listener called Andres. We would have loved to play the voice note, but unfortunately there is a creaking sound. Maybe it's like some sort of mic fiddling. Not sure what happened there. So we're not going to play the podcast, but I know Andres addressed Ben called me out. No, he addressed you for because you didn't connect with Poor Things as much as me and Simon did. So do you want to summarize the voice note?
Yeah,
first?
it was a really nice voice note to get. Actually, it was a very, very thoughtful one. So I guess to summarize, Andres, I hope I'm doing justice here in kind of condensing what you said. But basically, he made the point that Poor Things is initially is based off a book, or at least Yorgos Lanthimos is kind of the name and some of the stories based off a book. It's originally the book is set in Scotland, set in Glasgow, and the book itself is kind of a metaphor for this change in government that was happening at the time of Scotland that it was written, it's the metaphor of and the kind of comparison between the old and the new and how these two things kind of compare. So Bella's new way of seeing the world. And I think Andres was kind of saying that he read the book in school and had studied it and was kind of let down the right word. I don't know, didn't connect with it as much as he did the book, and didn't feel like it did the book as a kind of good enough justice. And I see where he's coming from. I understand where he's saying, and it's hard to say for me having not read the book. But I guess the take that I would give on that is that it's unfair to look at the film as an adaptation.
Yeah.
Because from what you said, I'm addressing you directly now, Andres. From what you said, it doesn't feel like the film is trying to be a direct adaptation. It's using that story as a vessel for something else. So I think it's kind of unfair to compare it, and actually setting it away from Scotland. And even though, and I think Yorgos Lanthimos maybe said this, I think you said this, Sophie, that he said it in an interview, that it's the reason why occasionally Willem Dafoe sounds like he's Scottish, even though his accent kind of slips from
almost like a tribute
one place to another, is to give that kind of connection back to Scotland. But the way I see it, and Sophie and I chatted about this yesterday in the Unheard podcast. But the way I would say it is, it's more so like, the way people say that like Shakespeare has been used as different stories, and you can watch a lot of films and be like, oh, well, like if you look at the bare bones of it, the story is Romeo and Juliet. It's just using that to tell another message. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to have to, how you have to look at it. It's not a direct adaptation of the book, but what it's doing is it's taking the characters and it's taking the name and using the intellectual property to tell a different story, rather than something like, in the most basic form of it, The Lord of the Rings is a direct adaptation of Tolkien's books. Whereas this is more so, trying to make a point using these characters, but, and I think that's with the blessing of the author, which I think he got, that's a fair thing to do. And I think it makes its own points in its own way, and I think they're two very different things, but it still uses that intellectual property. So yeah, I guess that would be my thing, Andres, is that I think it's unfair to call it an adaptation because it doesn't, or at least, you know, without reading the book, I can't comment too clearly, but, you know, the film itself doesn't feel like a direct adaptation.
Almost like an influence. Yeah, it's like using using that original book as a vehicle to tell that feminist story, really, because I think it has a completely different message. I don't think the novel is about feminism and like Bella's point of view and perspective.
No, and I think the Andres had said that maybe the book isn't told from her point of view either. So that she's a character in the book, but it's not necessarily told from her point of view. And actually, you know, that's another thing to do, is like you can look at it and say that actually the story being told through her eyes is a different story, and it can be used in a different way. So yeah. I mean, thank you for sending it in, Andres, and that's what I thought about it.
Just don't fiddle with your mic so much next time.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll have you.
Please, feel free to respond
on the podcast. Yeah, I mean, for sure, and I mean, I will try and seek out the book and try and read it to educate myself a little bit more, because maybe I'll have a greater appreciation for the film. You know, having read the source material, it's always good to do your research.
Amazing, thank you, Andres. Cool. So moving on to our last quick segment for the episode, we got this question from a listener, and they would love to hear our perspectives on this one. And I mean, as always, we wanted to include you in the decision process, because I mean, this is a very long list. We asked people which actors or actresses need new agents, and this question came on the back of my posting about Ironclaw, and they mentioned Zac Efron finally is having a bit of a moment, haha. And oh, by the way, it would be great if you asked that question and if you guys discussed which actors or actresses need new agents, because Zac Efron is a bit of an interesting one, because he doesn't really, like, up until Ironclaw, I wouldn't say I would consider him like a serious actor. I mean, I know him from The Neighbors and
High School Musical,
which I don't even know if I've seen that film properly, or if
Baywatch.
I've seen Baywatch, that the remake. I remember
he's in that movie where he plays Jeffrey Dahmer, because there was that weird point about 2 years ago where for some reason people were obsessed with telling Jeffrey Dahmer's story.
Oh God,
what was it?
Yes, you're right.
Had a stupidly long title as well.
Yes, very long title.
One of those ones that's just like, I wouldn't go and see it purely because I can't say the name. It's that long.
I almost want to see whether he's good in that or not. But someone did make a good point about Zac Efron the other day, because they were like, yeah, I wonder what happened to him, because apparently, I don't know if you've heard, he actually had an accident and he had to do a lot of surgery, and even like his face looks quite different in Ironclaw, where you would think, oh, he did like some sort of plastic surgery and actually had to do it because he went through an accident. And he even he has said, yeah, like it has taken a toll on me. And I wonder whether that was like a bit of a formative experience for him to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna take a bit of a different route in terms of like the roles that I take, because these past two roles have been quite a departure from the films that he's taken over the past 10 years that he's active. So I hope you find a new agent, and if not, I
think there's definitely something in people who start as child actors that it's hard to get out of that, you know, like someone like Daniel Radcliffe probably has struggled with that as well, like post Harry Potter, trying to make a name for himself other than being the guy who's Harry Potter, because child actors tend to just be known for that, you know, like he's not a child actor, but like, and obviously, you know, his acting career was kind of curtailed a bit, but like, I only say this because he was at the BAFTAs the night. Michael J. Fox, you know, as a young man played Marty McFly, and that's kind of it. Like he's like, you know, that's what he's known for, you know. I'm trying to think of like other examples of it, but it's Tom Holland, someone that people brought up as well as like a young man who's cast by the Russo brothers as Spider-Man, and he's almost typecast as that now.
But what do we think has happened? Because he's taking a few roles that haven't paid off. So he did Terry, that was supposed to be quite bad.
That was a Russo brothers one as well, wasn't it?
Was it? I mean, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, maybe.
That was an Apple TV one.
Then there was this other one, like a Netflix film that I don't remember, that was fairly basic, but it's kind of forgettable.
That was. I tried watching his Uncharted. The Uncharted movie,
was quite bad, I've heard.
couldn't get more than I'd say half an hour, 40 minutes into it, and then I had to turn it off. It was just dull. For a movie that's supposed to be, and like if you've played the video games, it's basically like trying to be like modern day Indiana Jones. And the games really succeed at that. Like they're incredible. The set pieces in them are amazing. The movie just falls on its face. Like it's really boring.
I'm quite torn on him on whether he's actually a good actor or whether he hit a gold mine with Spider-Man and that role suited him, or whether he's just someone who's, let's be honest, quite young and he's trying to figure out himself as an actor and he's trying a bunch of different things, see what sticks. But
yeah, as you say, he's still quite young and he's relatively early in his career. It's just that his career started so early, I think he is a good actor, and I think he's an amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it would be a shame if he is typecast as that. It's just, I think it's one of those ones where, again, not coming back to the child actor thing, but like I think when you are so known for something like that at such a young age, you then need to be really careful with the projects that you pick. And I think he's been fair play to him. I mean, he is making himself an action star. Like he's one of these people who, like, in a couple of years' time, like if Tom Cruise needs someone to take over the Mission Impossible roles, he could go and do it. Or like, in like 10, 15 years' time, he's somebody who'll probably be in the running for Bond.
Yeah.
Like he feels like that's the career he's forging for himself. And like, fair play to him. He will be a multi-billionaire one, like more money than any of us ever will combined. And like, if he's happy doing that, I mean, amazing. Fair play to him.
Yeah, of course. I think he could have had more of a Timothée Chalamet career, like, because I think he's done some great choices in terms of what he's picked so far. Like I feel like every single one of his films has been at least interesting, if not great. The next one I want to move to, and I mean, probably you're going to have thoughts, Ben, is Eva Green.
Oh,
like, what happened?
What's the Bernardo Bertolucci film that she's in? The
Dreamers.
The Dreamers.
Oh my God,
insane.
an incredible film.
Yeah.
Which one's The Dreamers?
With
it's about the Cultural Revolution in France in the 60s,
with Michael Pitt.
Late 60s.
Yeah. Also, what happened to him? But Eva Green, like she did like
someone made
I say
comment.
Eva. Do you say Eva? I say Eva Green. But I don't know.
Yeah, Eva.
Isn't she
yeah.
Eva? Eva Green?
It's with an
or
E.
Eva Green? Yeah, it's probably Eva Green.
Probably Eva.
Yeah, I mean, they had said that whoever made the comment, they said past Casino Royale that she just like has made some really weird choices. She was in that like weird Tim Burton Johnny Depp movie.
She had a Tim Burton.
She was
had
in
a couple
that.
of films.
She was she did some kind of like weird
Pellegrine. Was that the
Miss Peregrine's House for Unwanted Children?
And now she's
like
in
that,
Three Musketeers or some bullshit film.
Oh God, they're not making another Three Musketeers.
Oh no, yeah, and she's in it. Like,
oh Jesus Christ.
That's the thing. Like, what happened to you, girl?
Oh God, yeah.
Like, it's almost like she gave up because she was a great actress, like great charisma, like great actress. Like, I don't know what happened.
But isn't she like she's like a writer as well? She's a composer. I think so. Yeah, she's one of these.
Maybe this is just for her. It's just a side hustle. She's doing the real shit in the music industry or something.
Oh, maybe you guys, maybe.
Maybe
she's like, I'm not doing another film, and then they just make her do it.
Yeah.
I want to give all my time to Daft Punk.
Yeah. Penny Dreadful was good for a while. That was a show she did. That was okay.
That was the Josh Hartnett. That was the kind of the weird like
probably like a decade
like
ago
almost
now.
like Guillermo del Toro-esque TV show, wasn't it? And then
good.
they did a sequel to that, didn't they? In like LA or something.
Did they?
I think so.
I didn't catch up to that. Okay, a few more. John Travolta, Russell Crowe, Emma Watson, Jared Leto, Sam Worthington.
I was going to mention a John Travolta film earlier because I watched Blowout, which was a 1980s like thriller film that I thought he was quite good in. But then later in life,
I do think he's good. But I think he went through some personal
John
stuff.
Travolta's a hard one to talk about because there's the Scientology stuff in the background. That's
Scientology
just like,
and also like personal tragedies and
his son passed away.
Yeah,
or something like
he
that.
had it. But definitely he could have made more of an impact because I do think, unlike Bruce Willis that I don't think is a great actor, I think he's just okay. He's mid actor. But John Travolta had more of a range for me.
I think it's hard to say Russell Crowe considering the guy's won an Oscar. And I don't necessarily think Russell Crowe's movies are that bad.
Yeah, but do you remember that horrible meme-like film that came out? Was it a couple of years back? Which was playing like a priest or something?
A priest,
and it was so memed.
Well, I know he played Noah for Noah's Ark in like that weird kind of Bible action movie where he
with Emma Watson, right?
Yeah, I think so. Jared Leto strikes me as the kind of person who his agent won't tell him what to do. So I wonder is some of his choices, e.g. Morbius, are they are they his choices? Because he's also in stuff like Dallas Buyers Club where he's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, any foray into films where they're wearing the underpants on the outside of their trousers and lycra outfits is like a bad,
so someone basically
bad detour.
Someone basically just said anybody cast in a Marvel movie after 2019.
Right. But at the same time, I almost don't want to overthink their choice there because it's just like free money. Or like not free money, like easy money.
Yeah, but you could write any decision off to that. That doesn't really help us.
But but you could also make the argument of, Kate Blanchett like did Thor, but she's consistently made great films. So that doesn't make her like a sellout. But
I would also say Kate Blanchett is in one of the few good Marvel movies of the last 10 years.
Yeah, but even Michelle Pfeiffer, like I wouldn't consider like a sellout because she did that bad Wonder Woman. Like it's almost like forgettable. Like
she did bad Wonder Woman and then she did bad Ant-Man.
Oh, I did like that.
I think so put it this way. I think, and maybe you don't think I'm right. I think if you do one of the franchises, you do a Marvel movie, all up to you. Fair enough. If you go from Marvel to DC to then someone else, you're doing all the superhero genres and you're spanning all of them, then you're just a little bit
maybe
thirsty.
she has a few kids to put through college. Like, I don't know. I'm not like, however you want to make your money.
And Michelle Pfeiffer has, technically, because she also played Catwoman.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. However you want to make your money.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer, yeah.
Pfeiffer. Yeah. Interesting. But I would say I judge the Tom Holland move more because he clearly made a shitload of money from Spider-Man. He didn't need Uncharted. Like, I think that's the kind of move that I'm like...
No, and I mean, I will... And Simon, you and I, I'm sure can go to war on this. I won't judge people on the superhero movies as someone who loves those films. Now, because I will say, and actually this is an interesting one because we've just had the Fantastic Four cast announced, which is Pedro Pascal, who... Currently, Pedro Pascal can do no wrong. Yeah. Like, everything he has been fantastic.
Yeah.
So... will this be like Marvel's great? Is this Marvel's the great reset for them? It's also got Joseph Quinn, who's in Stranger Things, who played Eddie in the last season of Stranger Things, who was amazing, and Evan Moss Bacharach from The Bear, who was amazing. And we were talking about this yesterday, and I forgot her name, but it's the one who's in. She's in The Crown, and she's in Napoleon. Oh dear, what's her name? Vanessa Kirby. It's a really strong cast. And I don't think those people are selling out. I mean, they're going to make really great money off it. Of course they are. But also, some of them are really cool projects as well. Like, it's quite a cool thing, especially if if you're someone with, like, younger kids. People like Pedro Pascal, like, if he has kids or, like, nieces or nephews, they can't watch The Last of Us because it's such a grown-up program.
Yeah.
But they probably can watch him as Mr. Fantastic and as someone who could, like, helm the MCU for the next 10 years.
Yeah. And I mean, the couple more that I want to call out. One, Simon, you may have thoughts on this. Eddie Murphy. He's needed a new agent since the mid-late 2000s. Fair. But also...
I'd go back even further, I'd say.
Maybe
but also,
back to Raw, maybe.
Back to
post Beverly Hills Cop 2, probably.
Yeah,
Back to the AIDS jokes.
Oh, God. No, don't go back to those.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know his life story. Like, I don't know much about him and what has happened in the last 20 years. Because he did take a huge break.
He kind of took a big break, didn't he? He kind of went away to focus on, like, his family and stuff. He's quite a few kids, Eddie Murphy, I think.
Oh, interesting.
He's got quite a big family.
Okay. Yeah.
It is an interesting one because I'd love to know, and obviously we have a guest coming on our next episode who's an actor who you will have heard before. In Mr. Simon Haynes, who I didn't even meet the last time, so I'm really excited to meet because I had fucking COVID the last time he was recorded with him and I missed it. But, like, if he has any insight on a question like this into the conflict between an actor and an agent of, like, is Tom Holland actively going out and being like, I really want to do these roles, like, I really want to, like, oh, I've heard they're casting for this, I want to be in it. Or alternatively, like, does he put him forward for something? He goes, I don't want to do this fucking film. Like, what's that tension like? Because surely some of these people have had those conversations with their agents of like, really? You're really gonna put me up for that? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you. At this point, I don't know what John Hamm has to prove, but he's still in B movies most of the time, which I don't get.
Maybe he just loves it.
Maybe he does. Maybe he's
That's
in
what Someone
whatever
said Sean
era.
Bean as well. That's what I say about Sean Bean. Maybe Sean Bean loves the fact that he gets killed in every film.
Maybe. I mean, I'm
And,
sure
like,
he has been asked this.
As an actor, Sean Bean is someone who I would say has like played some iconic characters. Like has been brilliant.
Did you ever watch Sharp?
No, I never watched Sharp, unfortunately, but I've heard Sharp is good. That's where it's like an old kind of 1800s like war thing.
Yeah,
It's
something
like
like that.
Poldark, that TV show as well.
Ish.
Do you know any duds that he's done? Because I'm not very familiar with his, career.
I mean,
why is this person calling them?
He's a fantastic Bond villain.
He is.
In GoldenEye. He's very good.
He's really
He's
good.
brilliant as Boromir.
He's
Let's
so
not take that away
consistent.
from him.
Yeah,
He's
he
so
just-
good as Boromir.
yeah.
Like he's one of the best things about the Fellowship of the Ring. I think, and one of my favorite performances from him in the last couple of years, he's brilliant in The Martian as well. He's in The Martian as the guy who runs the crew and has all that conflict with Jeff Daniels' character. He's great
fantastic.
in it.
He's
so
fantastic,
good.
yeah.
And I think that's the thing. I think people know him for all his roles, like the ones where he dies and the whole joke of he dies in every film. But stuff like that thing, Time, that you're talking about, I think he's great in The Martian. Like it's the ones where he doesn't do that people kind of go, oh, it's almost as if they've gone, hang on. I'm an hour into this thing and Bean's not dead yet. I'm checking out. You know?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, as you were speaking, I thought of him and John Hamm because I feel like because they're obviously very well known and very talented, but I wonder whether the choice to not be playing leading man, I mean, exceptions aside, like Mad Men and stuff, is probably conscious of them. Maybe they do not want that. Like they are in so many films, but they're just always in the background is the wrong word, but they're playing supporting as opposed to be leading material because Son Bin never established himself as like whatever, like a great drama leading man.
And some people are just maybe naturally better at that. Like, you know, are you know, are parts of things that are greater than the sum of their parts, really, rather than being the person who leads it. And also, like, there's something to be said for the fact that it is really difficult to lead a film as well, to be the face of something, especially if it's like a franchise. Like Sophie and I spoke about this yesterday, but you look at how fucking tired Cillian Murphy looks now after that. Like we're getting to the Oscars now. He won't have to promote Oppenheimer anymore. He looks tired because what comes along with being the star of that film is that you have to be the face of absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And so someone like Sean Bean, who's like just on the periphery, I can do a bit of press, but I'm not going to have to be at everything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have to fly from Tokyo to LA to New York to London to Paris to all these different premieres and all these different places in the space of like a week. You know?
And I heard the recent Smartless episode with Sam Rockwell where because he's very much like a supporting, you know, I mean, he's had exceptions like The Moon and
he's one of the best actors of his generation. I think,
1000%. But he was making the argument of actually the supporting roles have usually more meat and they're more complicated than the leading actors and characters because they're more like vanilla, where they're like playing bad, playing good.
Well, his character in 3 Billboards is
Yeah.
the most interesting character in it, but he's not the main character in the film.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's probably the one that, like, if you're an actor, you probably look at that, you
turn the
read that
table.
part and you go, I'd rather be that guy.
Yeah. Cool. Simon, any final thoughts on this question?
Well, it made me think of also what you were just saying is Jeremy Renner. Because
really good
but mainly because of my beloved Bourne trilogy, quadruplogy,
Rightly
or whatever.
so.
Bourne
Rightly
Legacy,
so.
wasn't it?
And I guess it's a tough gig because it's, you know, it was owned by somebody else and then he had to take over. But that didn't work for me at all.
Well, Jeremy Renner is an interesting one because around that time he was brought in and did that Bourne film, and he was also brought into the Mission Impossible franchise.
He was.
And it was almost like he was being lined up to take these things over. And the Bourne one didn't really do great.
I mean, it was almost like he was set up to fail. Like, I mean, what a difficult task to come in to an already established situation and try and also it was a film that was kind of universally agreed didn't need to be made. It was just clearly to rinse cash.
Yeah.
But a great film from that time with Jeremy Renner, Wind River with Elizabeth Olsen. Great mystery, understated film.
And The Hurt Locker. The Hurt Locker is one of the
film.
best war films ever made. Incredible. And he's brilliant in The Hurt Locker as well. And like kind of secretly goes under the radar. But then has he done, like, he's made, as you say, like agent-wise, he's made some weird choices. He did that weird like Tag movie.
Oh my God.
That weird comedy movie.
Isn't John Hamm in this one as well?
He probably was, yeah.
But didn't Jeremy go into the superhero?
Yeah, he went in as kind of almost like, again, like a supporting cast in that. Like he played Hawkeye, who he got a series out of it. They gave him a Disney Plus series. But like mainly throughout the movies, he is a supporting cast member. He's not like he's never the main guy.
I think the thing is, sorry to kick it. I think the thing is that we're trying to judge art here, but then a lot of the people are treating this as a business and it's their livelihood, and they have completely different objectives.
Yeah.
So it's not really for us to say. I don't think we just judge what gets made and not worry too much about why. Because otherwise, if you can't separate the art from the artist, then where do we go with our discourse?
But you wouldn't want. I mean, with that argument, you're rendering agents useless and redundant. And I think they do have a role to play and guide the actors in a way that, I don't know, makes sense for them. I think we're judging the agents more than the actors. Actually, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's questioning the motivations of the actors or the agents. I think really helps critique the art of it.
Well,
it's a different side of the business that.
I have heard that peaking. I mean, because I do think there's the art of it, but also there is a pre-production side of things where it's like a script drops on your plate.
Yeah.
There is a skill involved with assessing whether that's a film I want to be involved in, right? Before you actually sign the deal and show up on set. And I'm not saying it's also the director's, like, obviously, fault, quote unquote, but it's a skill that you have to learn. And maybe because we talked about Tom Holland being so young, maybe that's a skill that you need to nurture and grow. Like, do I say yes to everything or do I say no?
I think probably because there's so many actors and so few films.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're going to be compromising left, right, and centre to get anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think we're talking about like films that are objectively quote unquote bad, like the Tag movie, as opposed to like a bizarre.
But even a film like that is in the absolute top tier, like in terms of budget and stuff. Like,
sure,
you're talking about for most actors, that
Yeah.
would be an absolute dream to be part of a production like that.
Sure.
Probably the top 0.something% of.
Well, that's it. Acting is a
productions.
profession. It's the top 0.01% that are actually in these movies. There's hundreds of thousands of actors around the world who are just working in like theater and working in low budget films and TV and stuff like that will never be the big break person, you know?
So if someone says, do you want to come in this Marvel mega hero film, you're going to be like, yes, please.
Yeah, I'm
Lock it
I'm
in.
on board. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Cool. Okay, thank you everyone for sending over your answers. It was great. We will be back in a couple of weeks with, as Ben mentioned, a very special guest, Simon Haynes, and we're going to do Oscar predictions. Our task for the next couple of weeks is to watch as many Oscar-nominated films as we can. I've briefed Simon as well, and you should as well, because there's going to be a lot of spoilers involved.
And Simon, we want to hear your best Harrison Ford impression.
I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
I don't care.
That's what we want, Simon.
I'll let him know. Amazing. I mean, I'm sure he's listening. That's so good. We should do an impression segment. That would be so
Kimball.
funny. Yeah.
Send in any impression requests.
Oh, yeah.
Or send in your best movie impressions. Give us your give us a
In
voice.
fact, we'll put you up toe to toe with Simon because apparently he's good at impressions.
That's so funny.
No pressure, Simon.
Can't wait.
Maybe we could make a quiz round out of it where people send in their impressions and Simon has to guess who they're trying to impersonate.
I like it.
Yeah, it could be good.
Oh, amazing. Love it. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Did you like it? Did you like that?
Did I like it? I loved it.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Good morning!
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.